They've brought back direwolves. And then this probably is the beginning of you know, cat people bringing back fucking extinct animals that will wreck us. That is the beginning.
We turn now to that remarkable scientific breakthrough. 13,000 years after the last dire wolf walked the earth, scientists say they've now brought them back.
13,000 years since the last direwolf walked the earth, they're bringing them back. Wow, this is not good. But 13,000 years the last one walked. Crazy.
Here's our chief national correspondent back up and with the video tonight.
Tonight, a howl 13,000 years in the making.
Damn.
In a first for science, biotech company Colossal Biosciences says it brought the extinct direwolf back to life, a species that hasn't walked the earth since the Stone Age.
The direwolf is the first de-extinct species.
Well known from HBO's hit show Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need that. We've seen Game of Thrones. I mean, yeah, I've seen Game of Thrones, and there'll be people watching, they'll be like, oh, that's amazing, I'll have my own direwolf like Snow, Jon Snow. No, man, that shit will fucking kill you and your family and everyone around your neighborhood. That's an extinct animal that they're going to bring back into a world where everything's much smaller than the world its ancestors and DNA is used to. It will dominate. And then that's a bit dangerous. What's next then? Tyrannosaurus Rex? Fucking mammoths? Saber-toothed tigers? Geezers, what you got to do is slow down on that shit. Call it a fucking day.
ABC News given exclusive access into Colossal's lab in Dallas, where scientists are using genes from gray wolves to create dire wolves.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically...
So this kind of like points me in the direction of the Anunnaki theory that we were made by an alien species with monkeys. And we're literally copying the same design that they're doing, but we're applying it with ancient extinct animals. We're using the DNA of an animal of this time, a wolf, a grey wolf, and you're mixing it with the DNA of an old one. It's literally, you're designing the eyes of your creator. You do what your creator does, and that's the same thing. Hungry for gold and gene splicing and you know, stem cell research, stuff like that.
99.
It's interesting. To say the least, it's interesting.
0.5% identical to direwolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in its DNA sequence to contain the direwolf version of the DNA. That animal looks like a direwolf, it will behave like a direwolf, and it
is a direwolf.
Is a direwolf.
Yeah.
Now, 7 months old, direwolves Romulus and Remus eating well and getting bigger every day.
Oh, shit.
And David, the company tells us they're not stopping there. They plan to have woolly mammoths roaming the earth again by 2028.
Woolly fucking mammoths. I'm downloading South of Midnight to have a little try on that. We'll see how that goes.
But critics argue that this de-extinction could harm fragile ecosystems.
Yeah, I think that would be a major issue with the extinction. It will affect the current wildlife. It will affect the current balance of things, I think. Again, I'm not professional, I'm just chilling, but you know, that's what I think.
Which is a really...
What do you think?
Something, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
We turn now to...
It's interesting. I think I got the... Is this the second one here?
A howl 10,000 years in the making.
Yeah, you see how legacy media all use the same talking points? A howl 10,000 years in the making. The other one said the exact same thing. Makes me suspicious.
Meet Romulus and Remus. While they're chasing and tussling like any other puppies do, they're far from the household variety. In fact, these two snowy white 6-month-olds could be the closest scientists have...
6-month-old, look, and they're like that big already. Looks like a normal-sized wolf. It's actually smaller, but...
...come to de-extinction. The pup pair has been genetically engineered by American company Colossal Biosciences.
What the
Their long
fuck,
white
man?
hair...
Colossal Biosciences. It's like an umbrella corporation.
And muscular jaws and weight already tipping
Skynet and shit.
the scales at 80 pounds are all features representing that of the direwolf, a species that went extinct more than 10,000 years ago.
So
Damn.
de-extinction to us is, recreating these phenotypes.
Damn.
So a gray wolf is the closest living relative of a direwolf. They're genetically really similar, only direwolves are larger, more muscular, these like
Just
colored
bigger.
coats. We edited gray wolves.
What if after all of this, none of these animals existed, saber-tooths and all that don't exist, and they're just doing the tests now? They're splicing the DNA now, creating them. Imagine it was all made up. Imagine.
Cells to contain those direwolf DNA variants, and then we cloned those cells and created our direwolves.
Colossal scientists studied a 13,000-year-old direwolf tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull fragment. Using gene editing technology along with blood cells from living grey wolves and domestic dogs, they were able to create embryos for these future beasts.
What
That's
they've done
mad.
is use genetic engineering to make a gray wolf superficially resemble a direwolf.
A direwolf. Yeah, so this is literally what the story of the Anunnakis is, but with us. They came to Earth, they needed a workforce, so they created this genetically engineered being, a human, using their DNA. They called them the people of the sky from another planet, using their DNA and the DNA of a monkey, and then they created us. Solely for the pure purpose of mining the gold for them. That's the Anunnaki thing. And look, we're doing the same thing as they did, as they supposedly did, to the things around us. It's interesting.
Or at least what we think direwolves might have looked like, because we're not really sure what that is either.
No, you
Romulus
don't
and
know.
Remus were born in October last year and hand-raised in a secure and undisclosed location,
Look at that little fucker. They're so fucking cute.
named after the mythical founder
Look at that fucking guy. That's Ghost, that is. That's Ghost.
of Rome, who, as legend has it, were brought up by a wolf. They also have a little sister Khaleesi, a nod to Game of Thrones, which also brought the species back to life, or at least to pop culture.
Run to the litter. That one's yours, Snow.
It's not the first time the company's made headlines in its quest to bring long-lost creatures back from the dead. Last month, it revealed it had copied mammoth DNA to create a woolly mouse and plans to engineer a cold
Yeah, I
resistant
saw
elephant.
this. I saw this. And you remember we saw those things years ago about them putting an ear on the mouse, like, a human ear on the back of a mouse. Loads of stuff like that. And I recently remember seeing a woolly mouse. Woolly mammoths are going to be running around and all of that. Way bigger than elephants. What are we doing?
In the future, other species on its to-do list include the Tasmanian tiger
And the dodo. Is that the dodo?
and the dodo.
We've made living biological attractions so
Yeah,
astounding.
this is fucking
captured
strange. This stuff I'm not too sure about, bruv.
the imagination of the entire planet.
Again, it makes me suspicious, and it makes me think along the lines of what I mentioned earlier. Like, what if all of this was false? There are no saber-tooths, there were no dinosaurs, there were none of this, and now they've put that seed in our mind from when we were young, and now they're gonna genetically engineer them now, and these are the tests. Imagine, fucking Ada.
If this is all starting to sound a little too Jurassic Park, don't worry. The company says it's hardly releasing these creatures into the wild anytime soon, rather hopes to use the
anytime
technology.
soon. This is usually how Skynet and Umbrella Corporation. That's what they said. They said, no, we're not going to release it soon. Yeah, until it escapes.
And learnings to protect future endangered species from going extinct.
And you think if it escaped, do you think they'll tell us? No, they won't. They'll go, and no, everything's fine. Look, there he is. That's the same one. Really, a direwolf's out there in the wild, fucking other wolves, making. Oh, Jesus.
We're trying to develop
I think gotta be very careful with de-extinction. I mean, yeah.
these new techniques in order to save animals, in order to bring back animals that, in some cases, were our fault that we don't have them any longer.
Fucking hell.
It was
Colossal. It literally sounds like Jurassic Park. It's like it's a nod to it. I don't know, man.
wasn't a climate problem, it was a human problem.
It's suspicious.
If that is possible, these little guys that could grow to be the largest wolves on
What's next? Cerberus, like that three-headed dog. Is that his name? Cerberus? I think it is.
On the planet could go down in history as being the first step towards extinction, becoming a thing of the past.
Wow.
Rosie Barnett, ITV News.
Wow. What's next? Bringing back Neanderthals. There's a time you got to draw the line. People are starving in the world. There's people homeless in the world. You men are bringing back direwolves and saber-tooths and all of that. That's mad. That's mad.